Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here today, and welcome to World of Warships. For a video, we're going to be talking about Des Moines today. We're going to have a really good game. We'll see how the landing goes, but it's going to be a good game overall. And what I want to focus on this video is talking about Des Moines in 2026. I've honestly not played a lot of Des Moines in recent times, as I've really liked playing Salem. There's a lot of different comparisons or several main differences between Des Moines and Salem, but I've really been enjoying getting back behind Des Moines again here in 2026. So how is Des Moines faring now as the game has developed more and more increasingly over the years? Is Des Moines keeping up or kind of falling behind? And in a nutshell, I would probably phrase it as following. I think Des Moines is still doing well in 2026 with a few caveats. However, I would say that to get the most out of Des Moines, I feel like the skill level required to get the most out of Des Moines has increased a little bit over the last 2-3 years, and particularly like even last night I had 2 games in Des Moines. Both games, CV focused me. The first game, I also had, not only did I have a CV focusing me, I had a submarine focusing me, and that really sucked. And when you have more ships, more different ways in the game now that combat the play style of Des Moines. I mean, Des Moines is really this type of radar cruiser. You're going to be playing on a key objective, a capture point zone, gliding up enemy destroyers, supporting your destroyers more closely, and there's more types of opponents in the game that eat away at Des Moines' play style in that regard, in terms of, if we're talking about Dutch cruisers, submarines, hybrid ships, and increasingly more and more aircraft carriers being added into the game. So those are kind of more the things that make playing Des Moines, playing Salem, and of course other ships as well that I'm not mentioning here, more and more difficult. But what I've liked about Des Moines is because the caveats I would say that help Des Moines play better in 2026 is having things like Halsey, which we're going to utilize our Halsey skills in this game, and then having the propulsion mod, the unique upgrade on the slot STRIX, which is like the propulsion plant, that you tie in on top of the negative 50% propulsion you get on the 4th slot, and then you trade it out for the 6th slot, because the ability to just quickly accelerate is actually really helpful in 2026 when we're talking about Dutch airstrikes, trying to avoid torpedoes from submarines, as I'm going to eat some torps here from the CV. To help avoid the airstrikes and things like that in the game, even though purposely there I decided to eat it because I didn't want to push out beyond this and go closer into the Des Moines and Annapolis, because the Annapolis, you can see he's actually a range build Annapolis, and he's sitting back there as a kiter, and I would get spotted by the destroyer that's off to the right. So I felt I'm going to eat this CV strike and work this position. So the propulsion mod, having Halsey, those 2 things I think are really helpful to get the most out of Des Moines in 2026. If you don't have either of those 2, it's a little more difficult, and hence why I said, I feel like the skill floor for getting the most out of Des Moines has increased a little bit over the last 2 to 3 years in particular. It just takes a mindful cruiser player who has good situational, good awareness skills, knows when to push up, take advantage of the moment, to work it well. You know, Des Moines is the type of cruiser that plays really well to push with your team. Like, you can actually see, I've got my RW Yang, I think it is pushing the Vermont. We've got a cruiser and a battleship pushing down the 10 line. So I can actually afford to play a little more aggressive here. So I'm actually going to push up in this situation, which is going to help us capitalize here on this Elbing here shortly as well. And so because we have this propulsion, like, we get to break cover faster, we're able to get to the next island a little bit quicker, just because you don't have that slow buildup of trying to reach full engine power, if you will. And because of having that propulsion, like even utilizing our rudder shift and trying to avoid from a stop, it feels pretty incredible to utilize. So that would be the answer to the question in this video in a nutshell. So I don't want to keep repeating myself in that regard. So what I want to do is focus more on just kind of the gameplay and how I've been approaching Des Moines as of late. So as I said, if your team pushing with your team is excellent, because Des Moines is very much a support cruiser, being a little bit more heavy on the consumables with their 10-kilometer radar. So we know us pushing up here enables us to punish the Elbing. And honestly, all the Elbing really had to do here was not fire his guns, but he panics because we have him lit on radar. So he probably could have likely gotten away because he's already left our radar range now, right? And it's because he fired, that's why I'm able to continue shooting. And then he's like getting low on health. And I think now he's like, the Yu Yang's kind of pushing towards him, and so he feels even more stressed. And I think he's also trying to shoot at the battleship that's pushing really heavy on the 10 line, and we're about to lose him. So we're able to capitalize on that essentially. And the Annapolis is being a range mod, and that I saw that he wanted to play more of this kiting style and just moving further back. It kind of communicates to me that's like, okay, well, he's going to give ground before he tries to take ground, which means I'll go ahead and take ground. So, and this is where that skill where I was talking about comes into play here. Like, you know, Annapolis is all the way, Annapolis is on the J line, guys. Like, hello? What are we talking about here? And that's like where that skill floor comes into play. When you can start reading your opponents and what they're doing, it's just like, okay, if I have an Annapolis farming me at 18, or trying to farm me, shoot at me 18 kilometers away, like that really tells me all I need to know here. The other thing that comes into, particularly with cruisers, even more so I would say compared to destroyers and battleships, is also being able to read the map. So you can see our other flank is collapsed. Enemy teams still has a decent amount of hit points, and they're pushing our team back pretty heavily as our Yu Yang takes out the Vermont to the south, which is huge help. I don't have to worry about those 12 457s bugging me later on. But the cruiser player style is also reading the map and trying to get yourself into positions where you're going to be able to have a key influence for your team. So I'm reading the push that's kind of forming out of the 1 to 3 line, that they've kind of cleared that flank. So in the key area, you know, if you look on the top of our screen here, 5 seconds the key area is going to appear. You know, we don't have control of the key area. Enemy team has control of the key area. So all I really need to do here is I can start pushing up, and then I can start farming here. And the reason why this works out really well for me is because my team has done such a good job on the flank and pushing the enemy team away, that I can easily sit here. You know, if I was sitting here with that Vermont still alive, like that would be a huge issue for me. But I'm able to read the map pretty well. And I want to actually, the other big thing with Des Moines and Salem is because they have these amazing 8-inch guns, 9 8-inch guns. You know, we're only utilizing 2/3 of our firepower here. We want to get the 3rd turret involved, so I'm trying to shuffle my ship into a position to focus on getting Des Moines involved. This Kremlin poses the biggest threat to my teammates right now, so anything I can do to kind of help contribute to getting Des Moines or the Kremlin's hit points down faster, to ease the pressure on my teammates to the north, to then help my teammates not only stay up to the north, but ideally begin to push back down towards A, in being more of a support, being more of an aid, being more of an assistance to myself. So there's a little bit of teamwork, but it's acknowledging that if I wipe Kremlin off the board here, and help my team wipe Kremlin off the board, my teammates are probably much more likely in a position to help me with the key area, which is going to be really important here in a little bit. You know, the key area is going to keep shrinking as time goes on, but as enemy teams moving more into the key area, I'm going to need more assistance from my teammates to help me out at A. But you can see, you know, Louisiana and the GK are, you know, there goes Louisiana. GK is about to sell the farm as well. So that ends up only being our CV up on the A line, and then our submarine kind of being the only aid we're able to get. You know, we tried as much as we could. Kremlin, we got a permafire on. We just set. He's leaving the picture here. The propulsion will easily, the unique upgrade will easily get you in trouble. You can easily over accelerate quickly past an island, and so I don't want to open up here yet. So I recognize I need to actually back off. Unless Yamato fires another ship here, then I'm probably not going to shoot. So we're going to ease back in. Yu Yang's got torps. Yu Yang has a really great flooding chance. So you can actually see, I can see the Yamato is flooding. I'm going to back up a little more. He's still flooding. His engine is also busted. So we can actually capitalize on this between the flooding damage Yamato's taking. Maybe we can get some floods set as well. So now our attention has really shifted that, okay, our teammates to the north kind of fell away. Now how do we help Yu Yang out? How do we help? I think there's another Des Moines with me, if I'm not mistaken. And then Doom in Wisconsin. How do we help set them up in a really good way that we kind of have this really good ingredient of success here? So, you know, you can just see with the fire rate, like I'm not able to get the third turret involved here, the rear turret, just because if I do, that's going to mean I'm going to be spotted. And I have decided with how the game's going, I do want to maintain some of my hit points here. The Yamato's going to die. I don't need to be impatient about it. It's another big thing with the cruiser lifestyle is to not get impatient. If you do make an aggressive play, usually means that you have a pretty good, you're confident, or you're just going to end up making a bad play, right? That can definitely be a pain. But you know, when you're talking about some other community contributors, or not other community contributors, other content creators, and also community contributors in the game that do the cruiser play style really well, like John the Ruthless, Gang, I think even Flamu does it pretty well, although I haven't seen him play as of late because he's going through some tough stuff right now. But it's utilizing it really well and knowing when you should be aggressive and when you should not. So already, again, we cleared things here in the mid. The Kremlin's off the board. We got Yamato off the board. Now what am I doing now, right? Enemy teams pushing at this Moskva here, and then there's a CV. Enemy CV is like breaking cover, which is like incredible. He's pushing out of the 3 line into the 4 line into mid. So I am going to decide to focus him as Doom gets the Annapolis off the board. But I want to deal with the pressure that's going to come from the north between the Montana and the Venezia. So I want to try to focus on that. But I decide that it's worth me going to go ahead here and focus the Hakuryu. I knew I was showing too much side to the Moskva, that was likely I was going to get a Citadel there, and I did. Doom later regrets his actions here because I think he was quite frustrated with how the game was going and what he was having to deal with on the other flank. So he goes over aggressive here. So he does understand he makes a mistake here ultimately because I don't think he thought the game was going to go well, like it was just lost at this point. But I always try to go by the lifestyle of like, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. So as this Hakuryu gives me more and more side, I'm quite confident I'm going to be able to get Citadels here shortly. I should, hopefully. Also to be mindful that the Montana might lob a salvo over the island here because he didn't go as wide. It would have been better if he went up to the sea line over, but he didn't. And so I'm really wanting to get this CV off the board because, you know, he dropped 2 torpedoes on us at the start of the game. And so we pick up the general offensive here. There's also a heal buff. That was the other reason I wanted to move over here, because I recognize if I'm going to get, if we're going to win this, I'm going to need more hit points. I'm going to need more heal. You can see our team got all the not HP buffs. Yeah, HP buffs, because we're like Des Moines with 70,900 hit points, right? Kind of crazy. So it goes to a 2 to 6 and then 2 to 5 situation here. So we see the Venezia, and I'm thinking as we pick up our Halsey and activating one of his greatest skills and a negative 34% reload time, and then I'm like, there's a submarine off to my right. This isn't good at all. that I'm not going to be able to stay very idle here. I'm going to have to be aggressive and pushing up. It is important for me to make note here. You know, one, I popped the radar because I was hoping to see the sub, which just didn't happen. And there's still CV planes flying around the map. Go figure. Yeah, there's the sub. He just came into our radar range now. So I was hoping, I'm like, oh, this Venezia might be trying to ram me. That would be kind of the play to make at this point. And then I'm like, oh, he does really want to get torpedoes off, so it's important for us to present as small targets possible, and we get a close quarters kill with Des Moines, which is funny. And then we're gonna quickly accelerate, and our CV is doing a really good job helping us out, by the way. But what I wanted to say is it's really important for me to acknowledge that, of course, this is arms race. We take way more damage than what normally should be allowed on Des Moines. I think we take like 110,000 damage this game, all said and done. But that's a part of how the game has developed over the last several years. You know, I remember when arms race was first introduced, when people were very sensitive about, you know, top random damage, but then it was like felt like it was going to be just instantly taken away by arms race because of the reload buffs, the damage buffs, which, by the way, I don't have any reload buffs. I just have the damage to your main battery buff. Unfortunately, one of our turrets gets incapacitated here, but with only one turret and the Halsey skill proctored and a lot of adrenaline rush and top grade gunner going, like, we're chewing through the hit points on Moskva really fast here. And then our CV is going to be able to take him out here, all said and done. So wasn't able to get the Kraken. We would have had the Kraken if we had both our main batteries effective there, both forward main batteries there, but unfortunately we didn't. So anyhow, but back to arms race. Like, the enemy team gets the same opportunity as our team got with the buffs, this, that, and the other. So it's not like it's unfair in that sense. This is just how the game is going. So then, yes, it's very frustrating in some instances how the game has progressed. Some things I dislike, other things are okay. But it's this new reality that Des Moines is having to adapt in World of Warships in 2026, you know, and we're just barely into the new year. So then it's like, okay, what else are we going to have to adapt in Des Moines or other classes or tech tree ships that have been in the game for a really long time that don't get funny buttons, this, that, and the other. So you need as much things, cards to stack in your deck to your favor. Like having Halsey really was a big help here to get 306,000 damage, and to also have a unique upgrade. You know, all these little things that you need to stack to your advantage, I think helps Des Moines overall here in 2026. So general offensive, Confederate, close quarters, high caliber, 391 main battery hits, only 7 fires. I'm a little surprised that we get more fires, to be honest, but we did try to utilize AP as much as we can. Despite the loss, we still get over 2,300 base XP. I did compliment our midway. He was doing a great job in helping us out, all said and done. So it came down to the Des Moines and the Bilal and the enemy team. But there's the 110,000 damage we took, 1.7 million potential damage. We had 19,000 spotting. Our fires did 25,000. And then our AP did 173. Our armor high explosive did 105,000. And you can see the other damage we did to ships here and in credits and XP. But in terms of AP DPM in the game, I think out of all the like 60 some tier 10 cruisers, I think Des Moines is still sitting at, let me double check here, I don't want to say this wrong. AP DPM Des Moines sits at 9th place, and then in HE DPM Des Moines sits at 11th place, and that's like Hawaii Golden, Bremen Golden, Smolensk B in front of Des Moines, so you could say it's like more like 8 than I guess in that regard, out of 66 cruisers in the game. So that's not bad, to be honest. I think overall, I mean, the consumable setup with Des Moines, and then of course having these fast reloading 2 and 3 millimeter guns is really a strength, of course, with Des Moines. So I hope you liked this video in covering Des Moines today. This wasn't me trying to play a bunch of Des Moines games and then cherry pick a video for you. Like, this was literally one of like 2 games I played earlier, like last week, and I'm like, oh, I think I'll feature this. I want to talk about Des Moines again because it's been a while since I played it, and I played 2 more games last night. The first game was sucked because of being focused by CV and a submarine simultaneously. And then the game after that, we actually had a pretty good game as well and topping our team. But this was just like, hey, let's talk about World Warships in 2026. Like when you have arms race and just these little things that just help you get a leg up in I think a better way for Des Moines. So with that being said, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give a thumbs up. If you did, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you subscribe, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. And let me know your thoughts on Des Moines, Salem. How have you been liking playing them now going into 2026? I really like playing both of them. You know, there's a huge potential, of course, with Salem that you have this massive super heal. But then with Des Moines, it's like, okay, but I'm going to avoid the damage potentially if you utilize the propulsion well. It just takes more hands, a little more skill to finesse Des Moines well in a way you're not going to take huge damage compared to like with Salem that you can be cheeky and heal massive amounts of damage back. So, all right, and until next time, take care.